Do not panic. Fake like you are sick and get out of this building now. That was all the note said. No name, no explanation. Just 7 terrifying words written in red ink by the man who barely ever said hello to me. 10 minutes after I stepped out of that elevator, I watched paramedics carry his body out of the building. They ruled it an accident. But I know better now. That was the first clue. The first domino. And I would later learn that someone in my own bloodline wanted me gone. But before I take you there, let me take you back to the moment everything changed in exactly 18 seconds between floor 4 and floor 7. My name is Margaret Caldwell. Everyone calls me Maggie. I am 72 years old. And until that Tuesday afternoon in October, my life was predictable, comfortable even. I lived on the 7th floor of the Riverside Heights apartments in downtown Seattle. I had been there for 31 years, long enough to watch the neighborhood transform from working-class families to tech workers and young professionals. That day started like any other. I took the elevator down to get my mail, stopped at the corner store for milk and bread, and headed back up. The elevator was empty when I got in. I pressed 7 and leaned against the wall, thinking about the pot roast I was making for dinner. My son Ethan and his wife Vanessa were supposed to come over. We had not spoken much lately. There had been tension over my late husband Robert's estate, but I was trying to mend things. The elevator stopped on the 4th floor. Stephen Langley stepped in. Stephen was 53, a quiet accountant who moved in 6 months earlier. We exchanged polite nods in the hallway, nothing more. But that afternoon something was different. His face was pale, almost gray. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool October air. His hands shook as he pressed the button for the 6th floor. The doors began to close. That is when he turned to me, pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket, and pressed it into my hand. His fingers were ice cold. "Read it," he whispered. "Do what it says." I started to unfold the paper, but he grabbed my wrist. "Not here. Wait." The elevator climbed past the 5th floor. I could hear his breathing, sharp, shallow gasps. When the bell dinged for the 6th floor, he stepped out without looking back. The doors closed. I unfolded the note. "Do not panic. Fake like you are sick and get out of this building now." My first instinct was to laugh. This had to be some kind of joke, but then I remembered his face. The fear in his eyes, the way his hand trembled against mine. The elevator was approaching my floor, 7 home, safety, but something made me press the emergency button. The elevator lurched to a stop between floors. I clutched my chest, letting out a moan. "Oh God," I gasped, loud enough for anyone listening to hear. "I cannot breathe. Help me." The emergency phone crackled to life. "This is building security. What is your emergency?" "I am having chest pains," I lied, making my voice weak. "Please, I need help." "Stay calm. We are stopping the elevator at the next floor. Paramedics are on the way." The elevator descended to the 5th floor. The doors opened and I stumbled out, still clutching my chest. Tom from maintenance was there, eyes wide with concern. "Mrs. Caldwell, are you okay?" "I need air," I gasped. "I need to get outside." He helped me to the stairwell. I insisted I could make it down myself. As soon as he was out of sight, I ran. Not walked. Ran, at 72, with arthritis in both knees. I ran down 5 flights of stairs and out the front door. I made it to the coffee shop across the street before I heard the sirens. From the window I watched 3 police cars and an ambulance pull up to my building. People started gathering on the sidewalk. Sarah from the 2nd floor, the Peterson family from 8. Even Mrs. Chen, who never left her apartment. Then I saw them bring out the stretcher. The body was covered, but I knew who it was. The shape, the height, it was Stephen. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Mrs. Caldwell," the voice was official. "Stern, this is Detective James Morrison with Seattle PD. We need to speak with you about an incident in your building." "What happened?" I asked, though I already knew. "There has been a death." "Where are you right now?" "I am at the coffee shop across the street. I was not feeling well, so I—" "Stay there. I will be right over." Detective Morrison was younger than I expected. Maybe 40, with tired eyes and a notebook that looked like it had seen better days. He sat across from me, ordered black coffee, and studied my face. "You were in the elevator with Stephen Langley this afternoon?" "Yes. He got on at the 4th floor. Did he say anything to you?" I hesitated. The note was still in my pocket, burning like a coal. "He seemed upset. Nervous." "Nervous how?" "Sweating, shaking. He pressed the wrong button at first. The detective wrote something down. What happened after he got off? I started feeling dizzy. Chest pains. I pressed the emergency button. Lucky timing, he said, but his tone suggested he did not believe in luck. Mr. Langley was found dead in the elevator 10 minutes after you exited. Blunt force trauma to the head. My God. The elevator camera malfunctioned. No footage from 3:30 to 4:15. He leaned forward. Did Mr. Langley give you anything? Say anything specific? No. I lied. Nothing. He watched me for a long moment. If you remember anything else, call me. He slid his card across the table and left. I sat there for another hour, the note practically vibrating in my pocket. Stephen Langley had saved my life. Someone had killed him in that elevator, someone who might have been coming for me. But why? That night I could not sleep. Every sound in the hallway made me jump. Every creak of the building sounded like footsteps. At 3 in the morning I finally pulled out the note again. This time I noticed something I had missed before. On the back, in faint blue ink, were 4 words. They know about Robert. Robert, my husband, dead for 6 years. The official cause was a heart attack. He collapsed in his office one evening, working late as always. By the time the cleaning crew found him, it was too late. The doctor said it was stress. Robert had been dealing with a complicated audit at his firm, something about misappropriated funds and offshore accounts. But after he died, the investigation went nowhere. I always suspected there was more to it. Robert had been nervous those last few weeks, checking locks, looking over his shoulder. He even talked about hiring private security, which I thought was ridiculous at the time. Now, sitting in my dark apartment with a dead man's warning in my hand, I did not think it was ridiculous at all. The next morning I went to Robert's old study. I had not touched it since he died. Everything was exactly as he left it. Files stacked on the desk, his reading glasses on top of a legal pad, even his coffee mug with a ring of ancient residue at the bottom. I started going through the files. Most were routine, tax returns, investment statements, insurance policies. But in the bottom drawer, locked with a key I found taped under the desk, was a folder marked confidential. Inside were bank statements I had never seen, accounts in the Cayman Islands, wire transfers to and from companies I did not recognize, and at the bottom a single photograph. It was taken at a restaurant. Robert was at a table with 3 other people. I recognized Stephen Langley immediately, younger, but definitely him. There was another man I did not know. And then there was Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, 5 years before she supposedly met my son. My hands shook as I set the photo down. Vanessa had told us she met Ethan at a conference in Portland. Love at first sight, she said. They were married within 6 months. I never liked how fast it all happened. But Ethan was so happy. Now I understood. It was never about Ethan. I heard footsteps in the hallway and quickly locked everything back in the drawer. A knock at the door. Mom, are you there? Ethan. I opened the door, trying to keep my face neutral. Hey, sweetheart. This is a surprise. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes. His shirt wrinkled. Can I come in? Of course. He sat on the couch, running his hands through his hair. Did you hear about the guy on the 4th floor? Yes. Terrible. Vanessa is freaking out. Why? He looked at me strangely. She knew him. He was doing some accounting work for her, off-the-book stuff for her online business. I kept my voice steady. I did not know she had an online business. Yeah, she started it a few months ago. Consulting or something. I do not really understand it. He paused. Mom, the police came by our place. They were asking all kinds of questions. What kind of questions? About Stephen. About Dad's death. They even asked about the inheritance. By the way, I am curious, where are you watching this from? Let me know what city you are in down in the comments. It helps me understand who is sharing this journey with me. The inheritance. Of course, when Robert died, he left everything to me. The apartment, the investments, a life insurance policy worth $2 million. Vanessa had pushed hard for us to liquidate everything, invest in some venture she was promoting. I refused. We had argued about it just last week. What did you tell them? I asked Ethan. The truth, that Dad died of a heart attack. That Stephen was just someone Vanessa hired recently. He stood up. Mom, you do not think there is a connection, do you? I do not know what to think anymore. After he left, I called Detective Morrison. I need to see you, I said. There are things you need to know. We met at a diner downtown. I brought the photograph and some of the bank statements. Morrison studied them carefully. How long have you had these? I just found them. My husband kept them locked away. And you are sure this is your daughter-in-law? Positive. He pulled out his phone, made a call. When he hung up, his expression was grim. Mrs. Caldwell, I need you to listen very carefully. We have been investigating a money laundering operation for 3 years. Your husband's name came up, but we could never prove anything. Stephen Langley was one of our witnesses. Witness? He was going to testify. The trial starts next month. He paused, started. Now that he is dead, our case is falling apart. Are you saying my husband was involved in money laundering? No. We think he discovered it and was killed for it, just like Stephen. I felt the room spin. And Vanessa? We are looking into her now. But Mrs. Caldwell, if she is involved, if she killed Stephen, then she killed Robert too. He nodded. And you might be next. That night, I stayed at a hotel. Morrison had offered police protection, but I needed time to think. Everything I believed about my life was crumbling. My husband had been murdered, my daughter-in-law was likely a killer, and my son, God, what did Ethan know? At midnight my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Stop digging or join your husband. I screenshot it and sent it to Morrison. His response was immediate. Do not go home. I am sending officers now. But I had to know. I had to understand why Robert died. Why Stephen had tried to save me. What Vanessa really wanted. I took a taxi back to the building at 2 in the morning. The night doorman was asleep at his desk. I slipped past him and took the stairs to the 7th floor. My apartment door was open. I could hear voices inside. Vanessa and someone else. A man. Told you this was getting too complicated, the man said. We are almost done, Vanessa replied. Once we get the inheritance we disappear. New names, new country. What about your husband? Ethan will never know. He is too trusting, just like his father. And the old lady. She had her chance to cooperate. Stephen was supposed to convince her, not warn her. Now we do it the hard way. I backed away slowly, but the floorboard creaked. The voices stopped. Did you hear that? Footsteps moving toward the door. I ran to the stairwell, taking the steps 2 at a time despite the pain shooting through my knees. Behind me I heard the door slam open. There, she is going down. I made it to the 5th floor and pounded on Tom, the maintenance man's door. Tom, help, call 911. The door opened. Tom stood there in his pajamas, confused. Mrs. Caldwell. What? Call the police. Now. He grabbed his phone just as Vanessa appeared in the stairwell. She was holding something. In the dim light, it looked like a knife. Hello, Mom, she said, smiling that cold smile I had seen so many times but never really noticed until now. We need to talk. Tom stepped in front of me. Hey, what is going on here? Family business, Vanessa said. Nothing to worry about. That is a knife in your hand. No, it is not. She held up her empty hands. The knife was gone, like a magic trick. See? Mrs. Caldwell has been having episodes. Dementia runs in the family. Is that not right, Mom? She is lying, I said. Call the police. Tom looked between us, uncertain. That is when the man appeared behind Vanessa. I did not recognize him. Tall, broad shoulders, dead eyes. Everyone stay calm, he said, reaching into his jacket. The elevator dinged, the doors opened. Detective Morrison stepped out, gun drawn. Nobody move. Vanessa's face went white. The man slowly raised his hands. James Morrison, Seattle PD. You are both under arrest. More officers flooded the stairwell. In seconds Vanessa and her partner were in handcuffs. She looked at me as they led her away. This is not over. Yes, I said, it is. Morrison walked me back to my apartment. We have been watching the building all night. When you texted that threat, we knew they would make a move. You used me as bait. You used yourself as bait. I just made sure you had backup. The apartment was ransacked. Drawers open, papers scattered. They had been looking for something. The Cayman accounts, Morrison said. Your husband hid the account numbers somewhere. Without them the money is frozen. Vanessa has been searching for 6 years. I thought about Robert. Always so careful. Always so prepared. Where would he hide something that important? Then I knew. I went to the kitchen and opened the coffee maker. The expensive one Robert had bought just before he died. I never used it, keeping it out of sentiment. Inside the water reservoir, wrapped in plastic, was a flash drive. Morrison plugged it into his laptop. Account numbers, passwords, transaction records. Everything. $43 million, he whistled. Your husband documented everything. Blood money, I said. I do not want any of it. It will be seized as evidence anyway. But Mrs. Caldwell, this proves Vanessa and her associates killed your husband. And Stephen Langley, and probably 3 others we have been investigating. I sat down suddenly exhausted. What about my son? We have no evidence he knew anything. He seems to be another victim. Ethan, my poor trusting son, how would I tell him his wife was a murderer? The answer came the next morning when he showed up at my door, eyes red from crying. I saw the news, he said. Is it true? I hugged him. I am so sorry. She never loved me, did she? I do not know, sweetheart. I do not know. We sat together in silence. Outside, Seattle woke up to another gray morning. Life went on, indifferent to our personal catastrophes. Mom, Ethan said finally. There is something I need to tell you. My heart sank. What? The night Dad died, Vanessa was not with me. She said she was at a conference. But I checked later. There was no conference. Why did you not say anything? Because I loved her. Because I wanted to believe her. He started crying again. I failed him. I failed Dad. No, I said firmly, she failed us. All of us. The trial took 8 months. I testified for 3 days, reliving every moment, every lie, every missed sign. Vanessa sat at the defense table, still playing the devoted wife, still insisting she was innocent. But the evidence was overwhelming. The flash drive contained emails between her and her partners, discussing the murders in detail, planning my death too. The defendant showed a callous disregard for human life, the judge said at sentencing. Motivated purely by greed, she destroyed multiple families. Life without parole. Vanessa did not react. She just stared at me, that same cold smile on her face. Her partner Marcus Webb got the same sentence. 2 others involved in the money laundering scheme took plea deals. Stephen Langley was honored posthumously by the FBI for his cooperation. His daughter spoke at the ceremony. She looked just like him. Same quiet demeanor, same sad eyes. My father was not a hero, she said. He made mistakes. Got involved with the wrong people. But in the end he tried to do the right thing. He tried to save an innocent woman he barely knew. That has to count for something. After the ceremony she approached me. He left you something, she said, handing me an envelope. Inside was a letter, dated the day before he died. Mrs. Caldwell, if you are reading this, then my worst fears have come true. I am sorry for my role in your husband's death. I did not know they would kill him. I thought it was just about money. I have been cooperating with the FBI for 2 years trying to make things right. But I know they will not let me live to testify. Vanessa has made that clear. Please know that your husband was a good man. He discovered our crime and tried to stop it. His only mistake was trusting the wrong people. Do not let his death be in vain. Take care of yourself. Trust no one in that building. Stephen Langley. I folded the letter and put it with Robert's things. Another piece of the puzzle. Another reminder of how blind I had been. If you are still with me at this point in my story, I hope you will subscribe to hear more. Life has taught me that sharing these truths, however painful, helps us all see more clearly. Ethan and I sold the apartment. Too many ghosts. He moved to Portland, started over. New job, new life. We talk every week. The divorce was finalized just before Vanessa's conviction. He is dating someone now, a teacher named Amy who has no idea how much money we used to have. That is how he wants it. I moved to a small house in Ballard. Nothing fancy. Just 2 bedrooms, a garden, a view of the water. I volunteer at the library, teaching computer skills to seniors. Ironic, considering it was technology that helped solve Robert's murder. Sometimes I think about that day in the elevator. 18 seconds between floors 4 and 7. If Stephen had not given me that note, I would be dead. If I had not trusted my instinct, if I had ignored his warning, Vanessa would have gotten everything she wanted. But here is what I have learned. Truth has a way of surfacing. It might take 6 years. It might take a single note from a stranger. But lies, no matter how carefully constructed, always crack eventually. People ask me if I am angry. Of course I am angry. My husband was murdered. My son's heart was broken. I was nearly killed by someone I welcomed into my family. But anger is not my story's ending. My story ends with Stephen's daughter and me having coffee every month. It ends with Ethan learning to trust again. It ends with $43 million in blood money being donated to victims' families. It ends with me, at 73, finally understanding that sometimes the greatest act of courage is simply listening to your gut when a stranger hands you a note. The building still stands, Riverside Heights. New management, new security system, cameras that actually work now. Sometimes I drive by and look up at the 7th floor, at what used to be my window. I wonder who lives there now, if they know what happened, if they ever feel the weight of all that history in those walls. Tom, the maintenance man, still works there. He testified at the trial too, said he always felt something was off about Vanessa, the way she would smile while saying the cruelest things. He checks on me sometimes, brings me vegetables from his garden. Detective Morrison retired last month. At his farewell party he pulled me aside. "You know what haunts me," he said. "How many other Vanessas are out there? How many other Roberts who die before anyone notices the pattern?" I did not have an answer. But I think about it often. Last week I was at the grocery store when a young woman approached me. She looked nervous, kept glancing over her shoulder. "Are you Margaret Caldwell?" she asked. "Yes. I saw the news coverage. About your husband. About what your daughter-in-law did." "Okay." She leaned closer. "I think my boyfriend might be doing something similar to his parents. They are wealthy. And he keeps talking about their will, about accidents." I gave her Detective Morrison's number, told her to trust her instincts, told her that if something feels wrong it probably is. She called me yesterday. The boyfriend was arrested. Turns out he had taken out life insurance policies on his parents without their knowledge. The police found searches on his computer about untraceable poisons. Another life saved because someone paid attention. This is my purpose now. Not revenge, not justice, those have been served, but vigilance, awareness. Making sure other families do not suffer what mine did. Robert would have wanted that. He was always looking out for others, even when it cost him everything. I keep his picture on my mantle, next to our wedding photo. 47 years of marriage. I thought I knew everything about him. Turns out I only knew the parts he felt safe sharing. The rest, the fear, the investigation, the danger he was in, he kept hidden to protect me. It did not work, of course. The danger found me anyway. But I understand why he tried. In my drawer, I still have Stephen's note, that piece of paper that saved my life. Sometimes I take it out and read those 7 words: "Do not panic. Fake like you are sick and get out of this building, now." Such a simple message, such enormous consequences. I think about Stephen's final moments in that elevator. Did he know Vanessa was coming? Did he fight back? The coroner said the blow to his head was massive, probably instant. I hope he did not suffer. His daughter tells me he talked about me in his final weeks. Said I reminded him of his mother, another woman who lost her husband too soon. He felt guilty about Robert, wanted to make amends somehow. Saving my life was his amends. The Cayman money was more than 43 million, it turns out. With interest and investments, it had grown to nearly 60 million. The FBI traced it to dozens of victims, families destroyed by the laundering operation. Each family got a portion. Blood money transformed into something like justice. Vanessa's family disowned her completely. Her mother wrote me a letter apologizing, saying she always knew something was wrong with her daughter but never wanted to admit it. Nature versus nurture. I do not know which one failed Vanessa, but something certainly did. During the trial, a psychologist testified that Vanessa showed signs of antisocial personality disorder. No empathy, no remorse, just an endless hunger for money and control. She would have killed anyone who stood in her way, he said. Mrs. Caldwell is lucky to be alive. Lucky, that word bothers me. It was not luck that saved me. It was Stephen Langley's conscience. Tom's quick thinking. Detective Morrison's investigation. A chain of people doing the right thing at the right time. We make our own luck, I think, by paying attention, by trusting our instincts, by being willing to act when action is needed. Ethan brought Amy to meet me last month. She is nothing like Vanessa, warm, genuine, laughs at his terrible jokes. When she went to the bathroom, he asked me what I thought. "I like her," I said. "But more importantly, do you trust her?" "I am learning too," he said. "It is hard after everything." "I know. Do you think you will ever trust anyone again, Mom?" I thought about it. I trust differently now, but yes, I still trust, just with verification. He smiled. The first real smile I had seen from him in over a year. That is the thing about betrayal. It does not have to define you. You can let it make you bitter, suspicious of everyone, or you can let it make you wiser, more careful but still open to connection. I choose wisdom over bitterness. It is what Robert would have wanted. What Stephen died trying to give me. Sometimes I dream about that elevator. In my dreams I warn Stephen, tell him not to get in, to run, to save himself. But then I wake up and remember. He knew the risk, he got in that elevator knowing Vanessa might be waiting. He did it anyway to warn me, to save me. That is the definition of sacrifice. Knowing the cost and paying it anyway. The building has new tenants now. Young families, tech workers, retires like me. Life flowing through those hallways like blood through veins, washing away the stains of what happened. But I know the truth. Buildings have memories. They hold our secrets in their walls, our tears in their foundations. Riverside Heights will always be the place where my life split into before and after. Before, when I believed in the safety of family, the sanctity of marriage, the idea that evil was something that happened to other people. After, when I learned that evil can smile at your dinner table, call you mom and plan your murder between bites of pot roast. But here is what else I learned in the after. I am stronger than I knew. Love survives betrayal, even if it changes form, and sometimes a stranger's kindness can save your entire world. Stephen Langley was not a perfect man. He made mistakes, got involved with dangerous people, helped them launder money, but in his final act he chose redemption over survival. He chose my life over his own. I will carry that gift for whatever years I have left. Not as a burden but as a responsibility, to live well, to help others, to make his sacrifice mean something. If this story has moved you, if it has made you think about the relationships in your own life, please like and share it. Someone out there might need to hear it. Someone might be in danger and not even know it. We are all connected, whether we realize it or not. Stephen Langley was nearly a stranger to me, just a quiet neighbor who nodded in the hallway. But he saw danger coming for me and decided I was worth saving.